Hello and welcome to Last Stand for Liberty. This is Aaron Gobra. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about the case against Mitt Romney. Okay, I got a couple things against Mitt Romney. Well, I got a lot of things. Mitt Romney and I are on the opposite sides of the table on a lot of issues. But let's just start with what Mitt Romney's biggest accomplishment was in Massachusetts. When Mitt Romney took governorship in Massachusetts, he knew that he had to have a big accomplishment because his goal always was the bigger office, right? So he was always looking for the presidential campaign type of thing. So his biggest accomplishment there was, healthcare and healthcare for everybody in the entire state. And so, the problem is now he has to run against his biggest accomplishment. The irony, of course, is that Obamacare is based on Romney care. And and so now Mitt's biggest accomplishment is something he has to run against. I find it funny, I find it ironic, and I also find it a reason that shows you a little bit about his character right there. Another problem I have with Mitt Romney is the fact that he's a neocon. Mitt Romney's been trying to sell war with Iran. Mitt Romney's real big on war, but during the Vietnam War, when he had his chance to serve his country, what did Mitt Romney do? Well, Mitt Romney ran to France and did a mission and got 5 deferments, while my father ran around the jungles of Southeast Asia and got shot and blown up and all kinds of other things that happened to him in the horror that is combat. And so, I have an issue with a guy who's really anxious to send people to war, who has never put on a uniform, but yet, is always standing next to the flag, has the flag lapel pin, and has what I call the fake patriotism. I tell people all the time, hey, if you're anxious to go to war, you should do what I did and run down and sign up for the Marine Corps Infantry. Those boys will send you to war, and they'll train you a little bit about it, and you'll find out what war is about. So if you're a flag waver and you're a neocon, I think you should sign up for the military, and you should put your money where your mouth is. That's what my family did for multiple generations. Aside from selling war, he's also, when asked in the debates about the drone wars that Obama's running, now those are completely immoral, completely illegal, completely unconstitutional. And Mitt Romney said, if anything, he would increase the drone wars. So he's trying to show everybody that he's a bigger neocon than Obama. In which, believe it or not, Obama's a very prolific neocon, but I cover that in some other videos. So you got more drone wars, you got war with Iran, and you got a guy that never served and ran over to France, and his wife come out and said something like, well, our religion, we consider the mission like a service to our country. Well, you know what? That's all nice. That's all fine and dandy that you do those type of things. I think it's wonderful that you go out to help other people. But at the same time, I find it highly immoral that you did everything you can to avoid war, and you're very anxious to send others to war. It's a very typical thing in this country. So it happens to disgust me personally, being a veteran. Some of the other things aside from that is, he supported the bank bailouts. Okay, so you got the richest, wealthiest people in the world that essentially, we had a huge transfer of wealth from the middle class to the wealthiest people in the world with these bank bailouts. It creates massive inflation. It devalues the dollar. And Mitt Romney was a huge supporter of that. He absolutely agreed that we had to bail out the banks. Now, what did he say when it came to Detroit, my hometown? Well, when it came to Detroit, he was willing to let Detroit go bankrupt. He never said that about bankers. And I think about Detroit, and don't get it wrong, I'm not a proponent of any bailouts. I'm a libertarian, and we don't believe in that sort of thing. But if you put a gun to my head and asked me who I wanted to bail out, if I wanted to bail out Detroit or if I wanted to bail out banks, I would choose Detroit, because Detroit's manufacturing base employs a lot of middle-class people. And it's also a national security issue. I tell people all the time that Detroit saved our ass in World War II. From that manufacturing base, they were able to manufacture all of the weapons for war that were required. Now, all that being said, quite honestly, I'm anti-war. Until the continental United States is invaded, I don't want anything to do with it. So, the other thing with Mitt Romney is you look at his other positions, right, and they tell you a lot about his character. His position on gun rights, his position on abortion, When he was in Massachusetts, he was, he was pro-gun control, and he was or he was, pro-choice at that point. And then the guy has to run for, the Republican Party nomination, and of course he has to scoot over to the right, and so all of his positions change. And that's typical with any politician, but it just shows you a lot about his character. He doesn't really have positions. His position is whatever's going to get him elected. So don't think you conservatives are doing your party a favor by electing somebody who's not really a conservative. And anyways, I'm a libertarian, and we are big proponents of Gary Johnson since Ron Paul is not running. So that's a little bit about Mitt Romney. Hey, do us a favor. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Participate in the Facebook page. Send us comments. Go to the website and watch our videos and share them with your friends and family. Let's educate the country. Let's make a change in this country, a real change.